people choose whether a plot of land is good to build a house on it or not? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but one of the factors is the classification of the soil, which is the dirt the house will be built on. One way, or the thing to do to learn how to judge dirt is it has two parts. One, the classification of the soil, which is the actual texturing of the soil, and then two, the actual looking at the numbers and using the texture to find out what number it is. To start off, in order to judge dirt, you have to have your soil, water, and a paper towel so that you don't make a mess everywhere. The first thing you do is to grab a handful of the soil, making sure that there's no any rocks or sticks or anything in it. And then you take the water and you spray it until you darken the color of the water of the soil and make sure that it's nice and moist. Sometimes you have to add extra water throughout your process because the soil dries out or anything. There's multiple ways to judge. The first one that I'm going to show you today is ribboning it, which is what I'm doing now. I'm working my fingers into the soil so that it makes a long strip thing, and then you press it lightly between, and it would fall off like that, but you press it lightly between your thumb and forefinger and just measure and let the weight fall over your finger, making sure that once it falls off, like this one would, that's your ribbon. The length of your ribbon depends on what type of soil you have. So if it's a less than 1 inch ribbon, like this one is, it is a medium soil. If it's 1 to 2 inches, then it's moderately fine, which is like clay. Or if it's more than 2 inches, then it's clay. Another way to do the soil according to the Natural Resource Service is the color of the soil. So like this one, it stains my hands kind of brownish. That would mean it's more toward the clayey side than it is towards the sand side. Sand won't stain your fingers. Another way to judge soil is to take a handful without making sure you don't wet it this time and trying to make a pyramid shape. This one probably won't do it because it's closer to medium than sand. This soil, you would make a soil, or you'd make a pyramid with the soil and then try to lift it up from the top. If it holds up, then that would be moderately fine, moderately coarse, which is sand. And then moderately, and it would be coarse if it doesn't hold up and the pyramid breaks. Another way to tell whether it's between coarse or moderately coarse is to get a little bit in your hand, and to wet it excessively, and then rub your finger in it. You can feel whether there's grit, or if it's smooth, then it's moderately coarse. If it's gritty, then it is coarse. The second part of judging soil is looking at the numbers. There's a chart, usually, that tells you what number it is for what soil it is. Like if it's a class 3 if the soil is coarse, and 1 if it is moderately coarse, medium, moderately fine, or fine. This soil is medium, which means it's a class 1 soil. Soils have many ways to judge them, but this particular ways, the ribboning and the pyramid textures, are the ones used in FFA land judging or home site judging competitions. In home site, there's more factors than just the soil of dirt, which is how you would judge whether a plot of land is good or not to do the soil. There's factors like slope, which means you would pick one point, like at the top point up here and the bottom point here. You would use a clipboard standing back to make sure you can see both points, and scan across to see the difference. So if you have a point here and a point here, then there's, that much difference, which is probably 5 inches, which means that would be 5 feet. The slope would then be 5 to 8%, which means that if you were to build a house on it, you'd have to level it up first. That's it on how you judge soil and how you tell slope. By combining those two factors, you can tell whether a house could be built on a piece of land or not.